Howdy folks, today I'd like to take a casual peek into the Incredible Hulk Mecha-Hulk action figure by Toy Biz. This set was first released around 2004, and I got the set in 2011 when I found it at a toy/collectible consignment store called Toy Fusion, which is located in the Sacramento, California area. And I'll post the link in the description down below. Now, there's a bit of a story with this set. When I was at Toy Fusion, I saw this set behind a glass cabinet, and I thought it looked really cool, and I noticed the price of $29, which at the time I thought was a pretty good deal. I asked the person at Toy Fusion if I could take a look at the figure a little bit more, so he took it out of the cabinet and handed it to me. And it looked alright. The figure looks really good in the packaging, but there were only a couple things at the time that I noticed. Was that the packaging was partway open, which is not that big a deal because I was going to open it anyways. But also that there's a Gremlin figure that comes included with the Mecha-Hulk figure, and I couldn't find it in the packaging. So I went ahead and decided to go ahead and put it back and move on. And I did. And when I got home, I did a little bit of interwebs researching and found out a couple things. First up, the Gremlin figure, from pictures I've seen of the packaging of the Mecha-Hulk, is sometimes in front of the Mecha-Hulk figure, sometimes it's not. And I found out that the Gremlin could possibly be stored inside the Mecha-Hulk itself. So that was one thing I found out. Another thing I found out was that the Mecha-Hulk on the secondary market goes for a lot more than what I had originally thought it went for on the secondary market. And I was kicking myself for not picking it up the first time. So I hoped and prayed that the Mecha-Hulk was still at the Toy Fusion when I went back the next time. And it was. And I quickly picked this guy up for $29. This guy was a steal, even if the Gremlin figure is not in the packaging. Hopefully it is. We'll find out if it's inside the Mecha-Hulk once we get this guy out of the package. But taking a look at the Mecha-Hulk here in the package, you can see that this is a big ass figure, and it's actually pretty heavy too, and it's pretty cool. It's got loads of detail. Of course, being the Mecha-Hulk, he's got a whole bunch of mechanized sculpted parts there. You can really see it in the arms, just everywhere, even the head sculpt there. It's really neat. And he comes with 2 firing missiles which fire out of his chest, which is another cool thing. And according to the packaging here, this figure contains 46 points of articulation, which is quite a bit. And you can see the picture here of the Gremlin, which comes included with the Mecha-Hulk, hopefully with my figure here as well. Taking a look here at the back of the package, you can see here a description of the Incredible Hulk, and one thing to note is that the Incredible Hulk series is also called the Hulk Classic series, so that's pretty interesting there. And you can see some design work by Art Adams, one of my favorite comic book artists. His rendering of the Mecha-Hulk there, which is kind of cool. And also down below you can see illustrated instructions on how to use the firing missiles and how to, I guess, insert the Gremlin into the Mecha-Hulk there. And then we have here figures from the Incredible Hulk or Hulk Classics line. We have the Gamma Punch Hulk, we have War Hulk, Mecha-Hulk down here, and the Absorbing Man. So we'll be right back and have the Mecha-Hulk and hopefully the Gremlin figure out of the package. Okay, we are back and we have the Mecha-Hulk out of the package, and I love this figure set. It's just kick ass. And really, just to get into it, well, we got to go into the accessories first. And thankfully, all the accessories were included. And well, I don't even really consider this guy an accessory. This guy's just another figure, a second figure. And this is the Gremlin. And this guy is so uber cool. The face sculpt on this guy is just really, really great. You can see the deformed face that he inherits from his father there. Very, very cool. And you can see all the details on it, on the veins popping out of his head. It's very neat. It's just really, where one eye is larger than the other here. And yeah, it's just even got some veins on his hands here. Of course, a nice sculpting on the body. And this guy stands about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches at most. And it's just very cool. And he does have articulation. His head can go up and down slightly, side to side. I don't know if it's meant to go all the way around. I don't want to push it, so and then just snap his head off. But his arms are on a swivel joint, so they go all the way around on there. And does he have waist articulation? Doesn't look like he has waist articulation, but he does have leg articulation. We just swivel on the legs there. I'm getting no focus here. There we go. It's just basic swivel cuts at the hips, so no knee articulation on this guy, but very happy to have this guy. I really love this guy. It's just very, very cool. And we'll put him in the cockpit when we get to the Mecha-Hulk figure. But very nice Gremlin figure. Very happy that he is included on there. Next up, we'll look at the firing missiles. And it's pretty unique. It's not your standard spring-loaded firing mechanism on the Mecha-Hulk. I could see why they did not include the spring mechanism, and we'll show that in a little bit. But it uses the missile to fire itself, and I don't know if you can pick it up in the details, but you could see the spiral pattern on this missile. It's basically, I think this is just a thick piece of, not even metal, it's really like more like paper. That's just all wound up into a tiny little cone shape here. Very much like with the with the old Christmas wrapping paper, when you'd flick it out and it would, the inner portions would shoot out. It's basically that kind of construction, and you push it in, you can see it goes into the spool and let go. It pushes out. So very interesting way to fire the missile using the missile itself. I don't see how long this thing will last though, because I could just see it easily bending, or it's just essentially made of thicker paper on there. So, but this comes out of the chest, and we'll go ahead and take a look now at the Mecha-Hulk figure, which is so uber cool. Now, this, like I said, this guy is huge. Not height-wise though, he's just really massive. And just to do some size comparisons, first up I'll do a size comparison with another figure from the Hulk Classics line that I have, which is the Smart Hulk. Let me see if we can just get some room here to do a size comparison. As you can see, the Mecha-Hulk is not tall, it's just massive as in width. And he's about the same size as Smart Hulk here, and certainly not taller than one of my tallest Marvel Legends figures, Sasquatch here. You can see that Sasquatch is about a head and a half taller than Mecha-Hulk. And for a more recent figure size comparison, I do have another armored figure here, and that's the Hasbro movie Ironmonger. So you can see that the height on Mecha-Hulk is not too tall. It's still a big figure, but it's just big figure massive wise. It's just width wise. So very neat. And taking a look at some of the details on this Mecha-Hulk is very cool. You got a lot of weathered painting day on this guy. So the green on here is not a full coat of green. You can actually see some of the brush strokes, which is not too bad on this kind of figure, being the mechanized figure here. It actually adds a little bit of character here, so it's kind of neat on there. And you can see some more of the brush strokes here from the dry brushing there. It's pretty neat on the chest plate. You just see some of the details, so you can see some of the cablings coming out of the what do you call it, the collar area right there. It's very cool on there. And he's got pistons, and we'll go into that in a little bit. You can see some more of the inner pistons in there on his arms. See some of the mechanized construction of the hands here. Very cool. You got some tubing on here made of soft rubber connecting the leg to the hip area. It's very, very cool. You get some more detail in the feet there. It's very nice. And of course more metal like construction there. And you got some of that quick painting on there. It just makes it look very weathered on this particular figure. You can see some exhaust ports coming out of the elbows here. You can see more detail on that, on the elbow here. Oh, looks like I missed a piston here. It's kind of neat. Look at the piston joint here. You can actually, let me just go ahead and see if I can put this back together. It comes in a separate piece. I don't know if I can get that in correctly. I'll get it in later. But you can see an actual working piston there on the back. It looks like the piston on the right arm just came off. We'll have to fix that later. So, but that's kind of neat. And you got, just love the detail on the cables there, and it's more soft rubber cables there. Very cool. And then you got the exhaust ports in the back here. And this is where you store the gremlin figure. And you just pull it, you can pull it right here. It just easily opens. You can see not too much painted detail, but you can see some sculpted detail of a view screen for the gremlin, and some other sculpted details. And you just basically stick the gremlin right there. And whoops, it looks like he fell backwards there. You just stick him in here. And you just close it. It doesn't click close, unfortunately, so you can actually easily open and close it, but it stays shut. Doesn't like fall open there, so it's kind of neat. Very, very cool. I like that cockpit for the gremlin there. Very neat. There, just plain black on the inside of that right there. Very, very cool. For the firing missiles, there is a button here which opens up the chest plates. It's pretty much flush, and without the missiles it can't open the doors, so you really need to open the doors manually, which is cool. And you can see two holes here where you place the missiles on there, and you just push the missile in. And unfortunately, due to the tension of the missiles, when they're loaded, the chest is partway open there. So, but once you have the missiles in there, that loosens up the doors for allow you to fire the missiles. And you, like I said, you push this button here, and push the buttons, and the missiles fire out on there. Pretty strong on there. I don't ever intend to use those missiles anyway, so I'm just going to keep these shut. And if anything, I'll put some radioactive material instead of missiles. Not real radioactive material, but play radioactive material on there instead of missiles. So, but very, very cool. He even got some radiation warning symbols on his shoulders there. It's very cool. I love this figure. It's really, really great. Okay, we're back. I gotta apologize. I just ran out of space on the memory card there. But continuing on with the articulation, the head does go up and down, and barely goes side to side, if at all. And I think it's due to a gimmick here with actual working pistons on there, or not working pistons, but simulated working pistons. When you move the head up, the pistons go down into the body of the Mecha-Hulk figure on there. So you sacrifice some head articulation for these pistons here. The arms do go all the way around. They do go out and in. Does rotate at the bicep all the way around. At a single joint at the elbow. Goes all the way around at the wrist. And the hands do go in and out. There are 2 points of articulation on the fingers, so you can actually close it into a fist if you wanted to on this. And the thumb goes in and out as well, so that's kind of neat. The Mecha-Hulk has a lower torso joint, so low it's almost a waist joint here, but it allows the figure to go all the way around here. And the legs are joined at the hip with a ball hinge swivel joint, so it allows the leg to go up, down, slightly to the back, and out to the side, and also rotate at the top of the thigh there at the hip joint. Now the hip joints are a little loose on here, so I'm going to have to apply some friction by looping some thread along the joint. A tip I learned from Nine Fires. Hang loose, by the way. Now the Mecha-Hulk has single jointed knees on here, so it bends back and forward. And there's also an additional articulation for this exhaust port, or maybe it's a rocket port on there. It's kind of neat. And this knee is stiff, so I'm going to have to apply a hairdryer to that to loosen that one up there. The legs rotate at the calf over here. And there's a ball joint at the ankle. It allows the foot to go up and down and side to side. And there is ankle pivot on the foot and toe articulation on the foot. So overall, looks like a cable came loose here. I'm just gonna have to glue that guy back in. Overall, this is just a great figure. I love this figure. I recommend picking this guy up and not passing him up like I did the first time. Piece of hair here. And it's just a great figure, either for the whole collection or really just any action figure collection. I think it's really, really cool. And just great to have. And if you can find one at the price I paid for it, it's an even better deal. Even worth it for if you can get it for twice as much as what I paid for it. So, but this is my casual peek into the Incredible Hulk Mecha-Hulk figure, along with Gremlin here as well. So, but thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.